Hey guys, what's up? Tominator here. So, with the 2019 Mr. Olympia now in the books and everything is said and done, I wanted to go back and review this finals from Saturday night, specifically the top three you see here. So, I'm sure pretty much everybody has heard by now the outcome of this thing. Brandon Curry took the W. He took that first place spot, becoming just the 15th man in history to hoist that Sandow trophy. And William Bonac was runner up there with the silver medal in second place, and Hadi Choopan landed in third. So here's the official scorecard, so you can see the rest of the placings and where people fell. We have Dexter Jackson in fourth, Rolly Winkler took fifth, Steve Kuklo managed to get a top six finish. We have Cedric McMillan in seventh. Who's eighth? Lucas Osladil. Wow, Lucas came in eighth. Okay, that's a little higher than I thought he'd finish. Akeem Williams in ninth. Yeah, Akeem was pretty good on prejudging. I'm not sure about the finals, but he was better conditioned than I thought he'd be, so one of his better showings. Patrick Moore rounding out the top 10. Excellent. That guy needed to crack top 10. If he did not, I'd be like, man, fuck these judges, because he was one of the bright spots, one of the more pleasant tales of this Olympia weekend, along with Hadi Choopan. One of the only good stories to come out of it, because let's be honest, I think it was a pretty lackluster Mr. Olympia. A lot of people were saying it's basically like Arnold Classic 2.0 in the sense that, a lot of the top guys were out, right? We didn't have the big Ramis, the Phil Heath, obviously no Kai Green. Nathan DeAsha was sidelined, Josh Lenardowitz as well. So there were so many big names out, and it was a very depleted lineup, and I don't know, man. It just, no one really seemed to bring it. So it was disappointing. The lighting was god awful, and that didn't help matters. So anyway, we're going to talk more about that later. I'm going to get into the pose by pose analysis in a second. But I just wanted to mention as well that Hadi Choopan took the People's Choice Award, or the People's Champion Award, just like Rolly did the previous year. And what's interesting is that both those guys were in third place. So it seems like if you finish third in the Olympia, you have a good chance of winning the People's Champ. But I think this was absolutely deserved. Hadi Choopan lived up to the hype. And hats off to Hadi. So in this front relaxed pose, you can already note that the lighting is just bad. I waited for these more high resolution pics to come out, because as kind of lackluster as these guys look right here, they looked even worse in the live stream footage. It was just way too dark, washing out so many details, especially on the darker skinned competitors like Brandon Curry. This was really noticeable as well in the classic physique division with Breon and George Peterson. Just details were getting washed out on these guys, and a lot of that's down to the lighting. But anyway, front relax pose, I probably would give it to Hadi here, because he's the only one with really any cuts throughout his midsection and his quads. Now, William has decent legs, but I don't think he looks as good overall as Hadi. He's not as wide. Doesn't show the same definition through the abdominals. Obviously, he's not flexing them like Hadi is, but still. And Brandon Curry looks great through the upper body, but those legs, I'm sorry to say, guys, they're not Olympia caliber wheels. They're just not. I think that Curry's legs look okay when he's fully flexing and we can see the separation, but even then, I could not find a single picture if we go through these poses where his legs look neatly separated. And they don't have the best shape or sweep to begin with, so that really hurts him, especially from the front. And they're nothing to write home about from the rear. They only really look good from the side. So front double biceps, it's certainly an interesting comparison, because everybody has their own kind of strengths and weaknesses in this shot. With Hadi, the lower body's on point. The biceps are pretty peaky, but the lats insert a little high, and he's just kind of got a blocky look to him. The forearms do not measure up to the upper arms, and the calves did not measure up to the thighs. So his proportions are a little bit wonky, but his conditioning's probably the best overall of this group. Brandon Curry carves the nicest outline. His contour is beautiful through the upper body with those massive round bis and tris and the flaring lats, the tiny waist, but he's just not very sharp. And I would not say that this is really a Mr. Olympia caliber physique. When we talk about the level of polish we've come to expect from that role, with the Phil Heath, and even last year, Sean Roden was super crazy conditioned, and Brandon is just not here. So it's a little disappointing to see something like this happen where no one really knocked it out of the park, but we still have to crown a winner. William Bonac looks okay, but he certainly seems to be downsized compared to previous contests in recent years. His legs, for sure, are much thinner than they used to be, and I think what he was trying to do is respond to the critics about his midsection troubles, because his waist was getting super wide and blocky, and he definitely did that, but it came at a pretty steep cost because he looks much, much flatter than he used to. So I don't even know who you go with. I guess maybe Brandon, but you can certainly make a strong case for Hadi just by virtue of the lower body alone. Front lat spread is Hadi, okay, because he fills it out the best and he's got the best lower body once again. William Bonac over there is just too kind of scrunched up and squashed, and his lats don't flare out as well as these other guys, so he doesn't carve a very nice V-taper. Brandon's got an excellent V-taper. I love the way his chest sits in this pose. Like, it just looks super thick and full, and he's got that tiny waistline. But the lower body, again, is just not there. It doesn't measure up. So that's why I would go with Hadi in the front lat spread. Side chest, though, this is where Curry starts to redeem himself a little bit and earn his number one spot, because I think he looks nasty in this one, man. It's just super big and thick. The balance and proportions are on point. The pecs look huge. The whole upper body looks huge. The arms and the delts as well. He's showing a little bit of definition through the midsection at least. And his legs look the best from the side compared to the front and the rear. William, you can see it in the legs there. They look very slight. He's got like almost no hamstring drop. So he's got decent condition, but probably a little sharper than Curry. But upstairs, I feel like his chest is thick, but I don't know, it's still kind of getting a little overpowered by his arms, in my opinion. So I would have him in third, but it's pretty tight between all three of them. Hadi looks good, still the most conditioned. You can notice that through the side leg especially. But I just think he's getting kind of overwhelmed by Curry when it comes to the mass and the fullness. So I'd go Curry 1, Hadi 2, William 3. Back double biceps. And this is what I'm talking about with the lighting, guys. I mean, we know William Bonac's back is just packed with detail. But where is it right here? We're not really seeing it. You barely even see striations in anybody's glutes right now. And everyone's hamstrings look kind of smooth and watery, except for Hadi's trailing hamstring. It looks pretty good, but none of these guys really look amazing. And I chalk that up to really poor lighting. It was just way too dark and dull, and it was not flattering anybody's physiques. Not just in the open class, but I noticed it in classic, and to a lesser extent the 212 as well. It was just a very shoddy job. I don't know what the hell they were doing, man. But it doesn't seem to matter which source you look at, whether it's pictures, whether it's the stream. I guess you can find nice filtered images on social media and Instagram and stuff, but that's about it. But yeah, Brandon, he looks good. I mean, decent, but lower body, not Olympia standards. The back looks good, but kind of watery, if I'm going to be perfectly blunt. I do like his outline. I love his aesthetic appeal. And I'm leaning towards him or Bonac. Bonac's out-conditioning him for sure, but Brandon's just overwhelming him with size. And Hadi looks thick and massive. The shoulders are huge, the back is thick, and the best lower body here, but the arms are a little lackluster compared to these other two, and he just doesn't have the same level of detail. But I don't know, it's kind of close between all of them here. You can really make a case for anybody. No one's really running away with this one right here in this image. Rear lat spread, I gotta go with Hadi. He's pretty much just as wide, if not wider, than Brandon, even though Brandon, I think, has a nicer looking physique, prettier taper, but Hadi's lower body's just far superior. William looks conditioned, but he's just not wide enough to stand next to these two, so I would have him in third once again. In the side tricep, I really do like Brandon from the side, though. I think that he really fills out these side shots nicely because he's so massive and thick, and he's got the streamlined waist. So that's good to see, at least. Between William and Hadi, it's apples and oranges. You can kind of take your pick. William's actually a little bit more aesthetic in this one, in my opinion, but Hadi's got him beat on conditioning. You can make a case for anybody winning this shot here. I think they all look pretty good. My vote goes to Curry. In the ab and thigh, I really like Curry through the upper body, the nice taper he's got through the lats. The abs are on point. They're not super etched like Hadi's are, but I do like his flow, at least through the upper body, more than Hadi's, because Hadi's kind of spilling over a little through the obliques. His abs are very sharp for sure, and his quads are easily the best. So I still give Hadi this pose because Brandon's lower body just can't match up to Hadi's. William is obviously a third here. He can't even really hit a conventional ab and thigh. He just kind of does this side thing. So now they're joining William in the side version of the ab and thigh. And I like Curry a lot here because, like I said, I prefer his legs when they're seen from this angle as opposed to head on. And, his abs are nice. His chest and arms look huge. So you can probably make a case for him beating Hadi in this variation, although Hadi's still more conditioned and his quads and obliques are sharper for sure. So you can make a strong case for Hadi. I'd go with Brandon here. In the most muscular, and it's just very disappointing. I mean, even these guys at Team Andro didn't take many pictures. It's like they didn't really care either. They weren't really interested in what they were seeing because we've only got one shot of the most muscular. Usually there's like 4 or 5 as these guys go through different variations, but this is all we got. And I'm not super impressed by anybody here. I mean, Brandon just looks like he's holding water still, not deep enough cuts. William at least has shown some striations through his chest and some separation through his legs, but he's just getting thoroughly out-muscled here by these bigger competitors. And Hadi looks mean and big and everything, but I'm not seeing enough striations through his pecs right here compared to how he looked at Vancouver like a month or 2 months ago, whenever that was. And he had that really dominant performance. I don't think he's nearly as sharp as he was there. I think he came in a little bigger, but he lost a little bit of that sharpness. Even though he was still the best conditioned bodybuilder in the men's open this year, he didn't look as impressive to me as he did at the Vancouver Pro. And his triceps and his forearms kind of let him down here. I don't know. No one's really killing this one. So you can make a case for anybody, I guess. But that's my recap for the 2019 Mr. Olympia. I got to say it was pretty disappointing, especially in the finals. I thought that most of these guys would tighten up and sharpen up. And I'm not sure, again, if it was just poor lighting or if they all kind of just stayed the same or even faded. Usually the lighting's much better on Saturday night at the Olympia in recent years, and it looked the exact same, if not worse, than prejudging this time around, so it kind of sucks. Anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents on the Mr. Olympia 2019. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned. I'm going to do a review of Classic Physique next. Until then, this has been the Tominator, signing off, and I'll be back.